Truly good photographs are not taken with the camera. They come from inside you, your eyes, your brain, your heart, not some cold piece of equipment. Hey guys, I'm Kebs, and today I will share some of the things that I learned from looking at and admiring the work of Van Ho. Van Ho captured Hong Kong in a beautiful way in the 50s and the 60s. If you want to know more about him and his background, you can check some of the links in the description. This video will focus on his images and actionable tips that you can apply to your photography today. Let's start. Van Ho uses scale masterfully. He is able to provide a good representation of the grandeur of the scene. Because of this, we can see clearly how massive the building is, how wide the road is, or how far elements are from one another. He uses his subject as an anchor or a reference point to show a sense of scale. A reference point is something that we are familiar with. In most cases, a reference point is a person. Because we have a rough idea of how big a person is, we can make up how big the environment is compared to the person. I apply this in my photography by adding a human element in the frame as a reference point. A reference point can also be a tree, an animal, a car, or whatever is familiar, something that we see often. Like Van Ho, we can provide a realistic sense of scale. As an alternative, we can also create a distorted sense of scale, or what we call a forced perspective. We'll talk more about forced perspective in the future. Van Ho uses light and shadow to create geometry. He uses this to frame his subject to come up with interesting compositions. This is probably his most popular photo, and it's the best illustration of this point. I apply this in my photography by intentionally looking for pockets of light and waiting for interesting things to happen. Walking around looking for shapes created by light and shadow is a fun exercise, though you might need to come back to the same spot at different times of the day. I enjoy cropping photographs. It's like making a movie. I really enjoy the editing process. What's it like? It can breathe new life into your work. The same goes for photography. That side is lifeless and this side is alive. Cut that side off then. Some of Van Ho's work has an unusual crop or aspect ratio. They are intentional creative decisions that he made in post-processing. I don't know what the uncropped images look like, but the cropped images are beautiful. I have two takeaways from this. The first is that we should be mindful about what to include or exclude in the frame. Ideally, we should do this in camera, but we also have the freedom to do it in post. The second takeaway is to have another look at photos that we didn't like. Photos that we thought were not strong enough, and analyze if we can make them better by removing unnecessary parts or changing the aspect ratio. By doing this, I gained a deeper appreciation for some of the old photos that I took. Van Ho has a lot of images where we can't make up the expressions or the features of the subjects. By doing this, we look at the subjects as part of the bigger composition, rather than as a standalone focus. Silhouettes naturally add a sense of mystery, as subjects transform into graphical shapes. This influenced my street photography so that now I focus more on the general composition than on people's face or facial expressions. Shooting against the light also helped me to understand how shadows affect the composition. This point is also the reason why I learned to embrace harsh sunlight. I'm trying to mix present and past, new and old, reality and dreams, to make my old negatives have a new life. That is why I use modern techniques like Photoshop to digitalize my darkroom experience and helps me combine or superimpose these images, or even borrow from movie techniques and do a montage and mix together into a fusion, an old, nostalgic feeling mixed with new sensations. Fanho combined his old photos to create a double exposure through Photoshop. He called this technique making something old new again. He created double exposures because he liked the effect. He didn't think about what other photographers will think about it. As an effect, even at the age of 83, he was still able to inspire many people. My takeaway on this point is to keep experimenting. Take photos that you like, edit them the way you want, present them the way you see fit. Of course, don't say it's not edited when it is. But the point is, you should not limit yourself because of imagined rules. I'm sure Hong Kong looks different now, but how it used to look like was preserved through the photos of Fan Ho. He documented where he lived. He documented his time. Looking at his photos made me gain more appreciation for my city. To be honest, there are times when I wish I lived in Tokyo, or London, or New York, somewhere more photographic than my city. I find that some places are indeed more visually stimulating, but I learned that there is value in embracing and documenting my area. I think the best person to document your area is you, not tourists or other traveling photographers. I was excited to make this video because I look up to Fan Ho, and he influenced my photography in many ways. Again, if you want to know more about Fan Ho and read the interviews where I got the quotes, you'll find the links in the description. I hope you learned something from the video. Please share your takeaways in the comments below and let me know your thoughts about this series. See you next time.